Hello, comrades, and welcome back to Ushanka Show. Здравствуйте, дорогие товарищи. My name is Sergey, and I was born in the USSR. So this video will be probably more interesting for people who purchased my book, American Diaries 1995. So far, I have about 200 readers, and looks like they like the book. We got good reviews on Amazon. And someone actually complained they loved the book, but they wanted to see some pictures. As I just mentioned, my book, American Diaries 1995, available on Amazon and Kindle or paperback. And people who would like to have a paper copy signed by me, can shoot me email at sergeysputnikoff@gmail.com and I'll send you one that way. So you may know by now I was born and raised in the USSR, as I keep on mentioning almost every time. And I arrived to America for the very first time in June of 1995. So actually this June of 2020, there'll be exactly 25 years, a quarter of the century since I stepped on the American soil. I came as an exchange student to work in a summer camp. So you see my t-shirt says International Exchange Center. That's the company out of Moscow. And this is the very first photo of me in America. This is New York City, Broadway. And of course, I wanted to have something that says, hey, I'm in America. So we picked a spot that I have a McDonald's behind me. And besides the t-shirt that tucked in the Soviet way, for many years, I actually was proud looking at these photos because I was always neatly tucked in, organized looking kid, and everyone else around untucked. But now it really hurts my eyes. But also, you can maybe say, what the hell wrong with those shorts? So here's a short excerpt, I think it's the word, from my book. It is worthwhile to mention the strange outfit I had on that sunny afternoon. Besides a white International Exchange Center t-shirt from Moscow, I was sporting hideous dark green shorts with bright violet flowers. You see, we were strongly advised by Camp Counselors People, that's the company out of California, Camp Counselors USA, to get some shorts before coming to America. Unfortunately, no one considered shorts as a proper clothing for adults in the former USSR, so I had a hard time trying to find anything at the local flea market. Later that summer, I purchased regular, normal American shorts, but then I was so surprised I discovered that my mother was still using these shorts in the village like 5 years ago. So these shorts lasted over 20 years. They went back to Ukraine and my mom was using them for a long time, and they finally, fell apart around 2010 or so. But the main reason why I'm making this video today, besides shamelessly advertising my own book, is because the camp that I came to work in the summer of 1995, and then I was keep on coming back for 3 more summers, 96, 97, 98. So this was called Camp Rosenthal. It's located in Southwest Michigan in Dowagiac, Michigan. This camp went for sale. So this is the picture advertising from a real estate page. As a Camp Rosenthal, it no more, maybe 5 years. So the company that owned Camp Rosenthal at Chicago Youth Centers out of Chicago, they sold it probably about, as I said, 5 years ago. And new owners fixed it up, renamed it Camp Lighthouse. But it looks like things didn't go. So even they put a bunch of upgrades, fiber internet, they built new cabins. Now this camp is for sale for almost $5 million. But it's huge. It has a 34 acres lake. It's 450 acres total. I wish I had that money, I'd probably buy it. But anyway, so that when I look at the photos on Zillow, I decided, man, I better make a quick video, take some pictures, because this is a big deal for me. So here I am, June of 1995, by the sign Camp Rosenthal. So there's some people that donated a lot of money, and it was named after them, Benjamin and Hannah Rosenthal. And as I said, it belonged to Chicago Youth Centers. That's the nonprofit from Chicago that works with kids from inner city Chicago. So this is the main building of the camp. It used to be called Chippewa when I arrived, and that's where they kept groups of kids, handicapped kids. But now they, I think, remodeling made it bigger and turned it into dining room, which we had a different dining room. You could see the lake behind, so a really nice location. And this concrete pad in the front, that's what another building. There was a big metal shed, and that's where my photography room was located because I worked as a photography specialist in 1995. Later, I became a lifeguard. That's where the building was, where they had kept the bikes. For biking specialist and photography specialist has his dark room. And actually, this is the very first building I saw of camp when we arrived late at night. So, we flew from New York City to Chicago, and then we took a bus to South Bend, Indiana, where we got picked up and we got delivered. So by the time we got to camp, it was getting dark. We hardly could see, and that was the first building that I saw. So there, I'm going to read you another small excerpt from my book. It was getting dark when the van took a final turn and started creeping along a narrow, winding dirt road surrounded by tall bushes. I slowly and carefully scanned around, but my tired eyes were unable to discern the camp's actual size. Tasha, that's our driver, finally stopped the van by a large, low building that looked more like a barn. That beat after the long trip, we unloaded our luggage. Not knowing what to do next, I looked around and noticed only black faces staring at us and smiling. It was hard to imagine anything more terrifying. And here's another picture of the Chippewa building. This guy in a white t-shirt, his name was Andre. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2013 from cancer, but he was one of the Russians at the camp, and he worked prior already twice, I believe. So he was a great help to me because I had no clue. My English was pretty weak at that time. So he worked as a counselor for the handicapped kids. And this picture was taken on July 4th, my very first Independence Day in America. And there's the picture of inside of Chippewa. And I said they expanded quite a bit, so it looks way bigger. Before there was a big area, and then they had quite a few rooms, like where they had bunk beds and where the kids stayed and counselors. But now you see in the background, it's the kitchen part. And next I'll read you what was my impressions when we walked inside of that building that dreadful night. It was going from bad to worse. And I think I already explained quite a few times, like back in Kiev, I don't think I saw more than a couple black people in all my life. There was students from Africa. So now I'm getting the camp as pretty much everyone is African American. So it was going from bad to worse. We walked inside of the building. So we're walking inside of this Chippewa just picture that I showed you. I found myself in a large room with smooth concrete floors, tall cathedral ceilings, and even a basketball hoop in the opposite corner. Several intimidating looking guys were playing ball, while others were playing cards at the plastic top picnic table, chatting and laughing. The sound of the bouncing basketball was echoing loudly from the walls and ceilings. We were the only white people in the room. I suddenly felt my legs go weak and about to buckle. So here's a cool aerial view of a Chippewa building. And as you see, the square part, it's original part, and then there's the add-ons, darker roof. And it had doors, like you can walk outside any room, right straight outside. Concrete pad. It's a building that gone now, as I said, that used to be my photography room. And then we have a small shed by the lake. It's also new. It looks way better than it used to be. That's where they keep pedal boats and canoes. And then you see that dock into the lake. So that's where we launched the boats. Because as a lifeguard, that was one of the activities we had with kids, is going pedal boating or canoeing in the lake. There's another angle, same aerial view. Beautiful place. Looks really nice. And dock is also new. So yeah, it looks really neat. I took this picture sometimes in 1995. That's Andre. I don't think he was posing. He was just sitting there on the dock watching the sunset, and I snapped this photo with my Soviet-made Kiev 19 camera. Of course, it's a film camera. you had to guess how much to set up your settings on that manual camera, but I got really lucky with this picture. It turned out really nice. Later on, I talked to one of the Russian girls to stay on the same dock and kind of look kind of, I don't say sexy, but nice, posing there, but it didn't turn out as good as this picture. And there's another photo. This is the aluminum canoes that we used at camp. It's Andre and me in a canoe, and you see the Chippewa building way in the back. This quality of this picture is way worse. I think it was taken one of those plastic, we call them soapbox, Milnica, cheap like Fujifilm cameras. But there's another snapshot of the life at camp in 1995. This is the secondary smaller lake. I think it was kind of connected. There was a little creek, and you can see the docks. That's where we had our fishing activities. So as a lifeguard, you'll be working on fishing one day, or on boating, or on swimming part. So this one was quite a challenging job because most kids didn't know how to fish, so it was always some kind of trouble. But bluegills, turtles, and you could catch them quite easy in that little pond. So this is the view of that little pond from the ground level. I think they cleared up quite a bit of woods. Maybe so there's a hardwood, but it's definitely way less trees than I remember. And here's the fishing activity. I took that photo in 1995. This is a Russian girl, Yelena. She was a lifeguard. First time in America, and I believe the last time in America. Later we went together with a bunch of other guys to Niagara Falls. And to the right, the guy in a white t-shirt, Jose, I believe his name. He was a lifeguard. Counselor from Chicago. We got Chippewa building in the back, and also that little barn when I used to have my photography room, and that door is entry to my photo lab. And besides bluegills and sometimes small bass, we caught turtles. Like, I was shocked, but it was kind of fun to actually watch them approach. What that one we used, that little white, forgot the word in English, it's a parish in Russian, and they were more than happy to snatch it up, and we caught them on this primitive fishing gear. And here's me with my catch. So this is picture from 1996 when I was already a lifeguard. So I got a qualification as American lifeguard in 1995. So next year they invite me to be a lifeguard, which way better job in the summer than being photography specialist. I was trying to crop up the picture of my photography building there in the background. So yeah, I spent there pretty much every day developing film, printing black and white photos, and then every day when we had kids, will be 4 groups showing up, 4 activities, 2 before lunch and 2 after. And we'll go outside, take some photos, and then I'll show them how we develop film, and then we print together some pictures. So there's me, photography specialist in Camp Rosenthal, summer of 1995. I already got American shorts that I purchased in JCPenney. Sandals that came from Ukraine, and t-shirt came from Riga when I went there in 1987. So it's almost 10-year-old t-shirt, but we kept our clothes for a long time. And this is my equipment, enlargers, trays, chemicals. And you can see I put my next to the film hanging, there's my camera key of 19. There's another part of my book. The camp director, Tom, then offered to show me the photography specialist workplace. My office was located in the lawn. I guess wasn't gray steel building, gotta change that. Yellow building, steel barn right next to the bike storage. It was a reasonably large room without windows, definitely dark room, with black painted walls. There was a standalone utility sink and a long wooden table. It displayed different photo equipment, some of which I could recognize and some I could not. I noticed deep plastic developing trays, daylight film tanks, and large faced darkroom timer and cheap-looking cameras. A couple of photo enlargers towered above many other items I couldn't name. And here's the beautiful view of the camp lake. And you see on the left, there's so-called villages. So we had a total of 5 villages, 2 Bidler and Cheyenne on the left, and 3 Apache, Comanche, and Smith on the right. So there will be a cluster of small buildings where the kids stayed, and then we had showers and bathrooms in separate buildings. So really basic camp. And I guess this lake is more like artificial lake. So they had this little dam that on the far end of the lake. So they had a little waterfall. And I would come here. One time when I had a lot of rain and actually we didn't have that bridge above it, I managed to jump with canoe because there was so much water going over that ridge that I actually managed to almost like jump with the canoe over that little waterfall. And there's me in a canoe paddling to sunset. Someone else took the picture and I wish they used my camera because definitely quality is not there. It was a beautiful sunset, but picture is pretty weak. Here's the view, closer shot of the Cheyenne and Bidler villages for the girls. It's pretty basic. Each cabin had a group of kids, so 10, 12 kids, had bunk beds inside. And then, of course, they have to walk towards the dining room hall or all the activities. They're kind of to the left behind us. It's a closer shot how the villages look like. And, of course, they had kids by the ages, so I think Bidler was younger girls and Cheyenne were older girls. And, of course, they kept the boys on the opposite side of the lake, away from troubles. Okay, so now we're looking east. West is behind, that's where the sunset was. So now this is the waterfront. It looked different in my days. We'll see it a little bit later. But that's where the swimming was going on. And there's a main lodge. And there was another building on the left, but it's gone now. But it's a beautiful area. This picture was taken in 1995. It's James from England, one of the lifeguards. And that ink all over the photo, I asked them to write a little message on the back of the pictures. So unfortunately it transferred. But they wrote a bunch of silly things about a silly Russian guy working in the camp. I think he became a cop and lives in London. And here's the view of the waterfront from the ground. So to the left, that blue building, that's where they kept stuff for swimming. Looks different. It's a totally new building. Ours look cuter. So here's the view of original lifeguard shed from 1995. We painted it that year, bright yellow, and then we put our flag. So there's Australian flag, Irish flag, I believe, Britain, Russia to the left. In the door, lifeguard Yelena hands out kids their badges. There were red color, blue color. If red, you can't swim in the deep, and blue, you can. And to the right, there's a girl from Australia. It was kind of interesting. We had two ladies that had the same last name, Petrov and Petrova, and one was from Australia, one from Russia. But originally, her parents came from Russia after revolution. And she was a biking specialist. And this photo was taken while we were painting, so I did a little artsy twist and made Ukrainian flag kind of a little bit more interesting than just a regular shape. I'm wearing bright white Camp Rosenthal staff t-shirt, American shorts, but I'm still tucked in. And summer makes my hair super blonde. When I'm outside for a long time, hair turns completely bleach blonde. And here's the view of the waterfront from the lifeguard, that little tower we had. So this is 1997. It's my third time I'm in Michigan. So really basic, just floating aluminum docks and lifeguard just standing there watching kids swimming. Another waterfront photo. This one is from 1998. Mark from England. He was lifeguard all 4 summers. He came just as me 4 times. Somewhere there's a boombox, jamming rap music. You could see there's a couple of girls actually dancing. So this picture was taken in the evening. We had like this swimming party every evening. About 2 or 3 groups will show up, so we'll have close to 30-40 kids swimming at the same time. In the background, there's a dining room building that doesn't exist anymore, but you could see it there right now. And you see way more trees. All those trees are gone now. After camp, I work at the local farm all the way till the late fall. So I came back to the camp and took this photo. That was really bizarre to see the camp in the fall, because I always saw it in the summer. And it was nice and quiet, no kids and fallen leaves. It's really pretty. Another aerial view. So here you see the office. So this is the road that comes out of entrance. And then this loop at where the buses will park, unloading kids. And right below the loop, it's where the dining room hall was. And this is the office when secretary, camp director, then we had the nurse lived there too, infirmary was there. And that's where we got our paychecks, in that little office. This is the final picture taken in 1995 after camp was over. So this is around August 18, something like that. People from Australia, a couple Americans, the girl from Chicago on the right, Andre on the left, Yulia from Siberia, Brad, tall guy from Australia, Lena, and you could see office building behind, and also our camp van that we used for going shopping. So on Mondays, we'll wait till about noon, and there'll be 5, 6 school buses coming all the way from Chicago, south side or west side Chicago, bringing kids. And the guy in the red shirt and blue jeans, like our camp director, Tom, he also worked all those 4 summers that I worked. So Mondays were ugly days because we're waiting, expecting a lot of kids. And this is the picture of the last bus of the last day of the camp in 1995. So I took a snapshot. Actually, I mentioned in my book. This is the last bus. This is the end of my craziest summer in my life, summer of 1995. Here's another cool aerial view of the area. So you see they cleared up a lot of trees. Waterfront looks different. I mean, we had big trees right along the shore. I'll talk in a bit later about this semicircular area on the left, and way behind you see just it's a farmland, grapes, peaches. Beautiful area. There's another picture of the kids swimming, and it literally looked like water was boiling. There were so many kids splashing, jumping, running around. It was crazy. So as I mentioned, I came to work. I didn't know about it. I only found out at the camp, but I worked as a photography specialist. But on our first week, which was like a training week to prepare people, counselors and specialists for the kids, they had a training for lifeguards because you're supposed to have American certification to be a lifeguard. And I asked how much, and they said, well, it's free. And so they said, sure, you can take that too. So I took swimming test, written test, sat in class, and I became a qualified American lifeguard already in 95. So they asked me for help in the evenings. I would come and help to watch swimming parties because we had so many kids, so they wanted all the lifeguards available. That was the smartest decision I made those years, to get my lifeguard quals so I can work as a lifeguard in the summer instead of sitting in a dark room as a photography specialist. Another cool aerial view of the lodge. That's where we had our training. In 96, we actually stayed there initially for training. Then, of course, when kids arrive, they send specialists all over the villages, so you stay where the kids are. I had a couple funny things happen here in 96. So that's the large hall inside of the lodge, and nice view of the lake. That's where we had our classes, and if it's a rainy day, then they'll gather a lot of kids there to keep them busy, keep them entertained. As I said, I had my class here to be a lifeguard, which I described in my book. The funny thing, what happened in 96, we arrived, like the very first people was me and a couple other girls from Russia. One of them, she tried to turn on the fan off in her room because we kind of don't like to have fan blowing in your face. And she couldn't find a switch, so she pulled the fire alarm, thinking that's the switch to turn the fan off. So, of course, then the alarm blaring. It was crazy night, but yeah, that's what I remember about the lodge, is that blaring fire alarm and this Masha girl screaming. I don't know what I did. Yeah, that was intense. I believe this is the final day of 1996 camp. So I said, I'm in the background there. You barely can see my hair. It's so white, smiling, American smile. So once again, so it's all specialists from all over the country: Australia, Ireland, Russia, Kazakhstan, Slovakia, Scotland, a couple Americans. And then Tanzania, the girl, black girl in the middle, she came from Africa. And you see the lodge to the left. Had a different roof at that time. So this is a cool aerial view on the right side of the lake. So that's what the boys' villages were. This first building you could see, that's what left pretty much from Apache Village. That's the one I lived. There'll be a couple more photos coming, but that's where the showers and the bathrooms were. And then you see only one cabin left. It was two cabins in this bare area where they used to like they burned wood or something. So there was total of 5 cabins in Apaches. And then you see this road goes along the lake. There was Smith, and the road goes to the right all the way around the lake. There was another Comanche village. So this is a everyday life at Apache Village. Youngest kids, 7, 8, 9 years old. This is the line of kids waiting for the evening snack. So we have our counselors. I believe there was a Josh. He was a nephew of the camp director, and that's the big building behind. That's our showers and toilets, and one of the cabins that's missing now way in the background. And usually they have a little jug of milk and some snacks. Inside, where the showers and the toilets are, as I said, really basic, really rustic. I learned really quick to get up, wake up in the morning and get up like 30 minutes before kids. So we'll wake up kids at 7. I'll get up at 6:30 and take a shower because after kids took a shower, there'll be no hot water. So I learned pretty quick to get up earlier. Hey, there's your comrade Sergey and his famous ugly green shorts. So this is A-frame. This is where I spent the summer of 1995 and summer of 1996. And then it was in poor shape, so they burned that building. But this is how I experienced America first time, living in this silly looking building. And yeah. And kids, of course, will try to run up the roof because it's right there. So sometimes you're taking a nap and suddenly there's this, feet hitting the ceiling right by your head. So that was a quite experience. And that's the view of the cabins. So got 2 doors on each side, no glass. It's all mosquito nets on the windows and the doors. And that's it. Inside will be bunk beds for like 10, 15 kids. And a counselor will stay with them too. This is the view of cabin inside. And I mean, really basic. I was shocked. No air conditioning. I mean, just really basic everything. And metal roof, no soundproof and nothing. So when it's pouring rain, it's so loud inside. It made kids scared. It made me scared because it's just very loud. This picture was taken in August of 1995. So this is I'm ready to go. I'm done with camp. Camp is over. I packed my stuff. This is the backpack I came into America, and you could see how the shingles are damaged on the A-frame. That's because of the kids constantly trying to run up there. That was the longest summer of my life. And in the back to the right, you see 2 other cabins that were in Apache Village. Another view of the cabins, and this was taken modern days, so this is probably Cheyenne or Bidler villages. And the camp slowly was going downhill over the years. Like they had less and less kids. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe financing dried out because a lot of it was just government supported programs to support the kids from the inner city, from ghetto. So they end up shutting down villages and downscaling to only like 2 villages instead of 5 they had when I worked there. This is summer of 1996. And the kids making a sign Apache, so that's a letter A. Of course, they had to have some kind of gangster sign, so they developed this as Apache, and that's our group picture. There's total of 4 white guys, so there's 2 guys from Belarus on the left and the right, second row, and Nick, local Michigander, right in the middle, and I'm below, of course. Another photo from 1996. Kids respected me. I was tall, muscly, loud voice, and a scary accent like Arnold Schwarzenegger, so they thought it was really cool. I think this is a 4th of July party in 1995 in our village in Apache. It's the first time when I saw marshmallow being cooked over the fire, and for the first time in my life, and I thought it was actually, we cook pork lard like that on the stick, so I was shocked that Americans also cook pork lard on the sticks. That turned out to be marshmallows. That was quite embarrassing. There's another cool aerial view of the camp, so you pretty much see the whole thing. Waterfront, Apache village to the right, girls' villages on the far left. Chippewa and the canoeing area on the far left of the lake. So very nice area. Actually, lake almost looks like a shape of state of Michigan. Mitten look. Mitten, yeah. So I tried to crop up this picture. So this semi-circle, this our campfire area. That's when we would gather sometimes in the evenings, and children will perform some skits, or counselors will do some dancing. There'll be some performances, and of course they have a bonfire there. So that was our gathering area. It was a nice view of the lake, but there was way more trees before. So this is how it looked in the evenings. So we had, this is 1995, an Australian specialist. Tanya is playing a ship, so they kind of present countries. So that was a good experience for kids to meet and be introduced to the different cultures. So they're talking like the Aussies, and they have the Australian accent, and they talk about fishing, and then they have sheep, and they show the Australian flag. This was pretty funny. So all the foreigners, all the so-called internationals, they trying to perform South Side, some rap dance, some booty shake. So the guys, two guys in the front, show us how to move your body, and I'm there in the background, and a bunch of other guys. So yeah, that was hysterical. Kids had a good laugh. Also, picture from the summer of 1995. Andre and me presenting Russia. Technically, I was from Ukraine, but no one, I mean, almost no, definitely no one in camp knew what Ukraine was. So I gave up and was telling everyone I'm from Russia. So we kind of made a funny skit about Russia. So Andrei's speaking in Russian, and the kid has a paper which, like, supposedly he translates to English, and I'm helping him out. And there's my white pony shoes right there I'm wearing. Here we go. We have a different view now. So this is how the group picture looks. This is summer of 1996. Giant fire pit. A girl in the white pants, Masha from Kazakhstan. Another tall girl in the back, also from Russia. And then there's just kids and people all over. And I believe there's a Darren from England flipping me off. He's sitting next to the guy in the black t-shirt. And one more picture of our gathering place. This is 1998. Now girls from Chicago, counselors from South Side, showing off their dance moves. That was quite interesting. Some girls were pretty hot. So this is pretty much the day before kids are going home, end of summer of 1995. I'm with my camera and my ugly shorts, and I'm burning. I kept every day's schedule from that summer. Then I burned all in the last day. I think I kept only a couple pages, but this is me with this thick pack of these schedules for every day. What groups coming my way, I kept it all, and now I'm like burning it all up. I zoomed up this aerial view a little bit so to show you. So between that circle drive and the waterfront, that empty area, that's that spot, bold spot where the dining room used to be, and that's where we gathered every morning, like 7:45, to sing camp songs, and then we had meal. And there were big trees between the dining room and the waterfront. And this is your typical view of early morning on Camp Rosenthal. Counselors are herding children into the dining room to have breakfast. Everyone looks sleepy and tired. A girl in a pink sweatshirt, she was American, and she quit with her boyfriend. They couldn't handle it anymore, so halfway of the camp they left. And then we got several other girls behind the children. Alison from England, Lisa from Ireland, another British girl, Debbie, I believe. Then we got Lena from Russia behind her, and then Tanya from Australia approaching. So as you see, we had quite an international crew there at camp. And this is the view inside. It was always crazy inside of the dining room. Kids were noisy, of course, they goofing around, spilling water, spilling milk, so there'll be slippery floors, running kids, screaming, food fights. So as you see, all the specialists look extremely tired and sleepy. And I had quite an awkward situation in this dining room because one of the guys I taught some Russian, he asked a girl in the front here, Lena, that looks very unhappy, So he learned how to say in Russian, "Show me your breasts." Покажи свои груди, and she didn't appreciate that humor. So there's another little quote from my book. Out of the blue, Elena complained about a couple of braids, in particular about long-haired blonde dude named Mark, who was very persistent in his attempts to know her better. My mouth went dry. I suddenly realized why Mark had become so interested in learning Russian, especially anything related to tits and ass. I taught him several naughty phrases, thinking it would be so hilarious when they come out of his mouth all butchered with his thick British accent. So this is my story about my very first experiences in Camp Rosenthal. I spent there 4 summers, pretty much close to 1 year combined. And now this camp is no more, it's for sale, and of course there's no way I can afford $5 million, and I don't need it, but it's kind of sad. There's a big piece of history of my life, Camp Rosenthal, and everything relates to it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll talk to you soon. До свидания. Goodbye. Hey, by the way, the cool merch for cool comrades is available at the Ushanka store at teespring.com. And if you love my channel and would like to show your support, please click on the link below this video and become the patron of the Ushanka Show. For as little as $1, you can help us grow and create the new, interesting videos about the life